Hello, everyone. We had our support meeting yesterday and we covered some things that I wanted to share in a video to help you as you work on module, is it 5? Let's see. Module 4. Module 4, lesson 2. No, wait, that's the wrong one. It is module 5. Oh, no, wait. I was right. Module 4, lesson 2. Okay. And I added in, most of the questions came about step 5 and step 6. So I added some information in here. So as you're working on this, make sure you go back to the learning journey and review this. And the questions were about choosing the second activity that you would have the students work on. You go back up here. Pretend your writers completed the first activity and then they scored a 2 or a 1. So you need them to do something to try to bring up those scores. So choose at least 2 areas on the rubric. So this is very important. You see these: argument, opinion, organization, evidence, expression of ideas. So you're going to have your writers work on 2 of those. And you could even do 2 activities if you wanted to, if it's hard to find just one that does both. Now you're gonna find an activity. I said create, which you can find one. The OER resources talk a lot about this. I picked a couple of them. And then on step 6, this is where you talk about why and how and why the activity you are using is going to make these things happen. It's going to make a difference for your writers. They're going to do better. Their scores are going to go up. So that's our goal. And you're going to talk about how that's happening. And that's the hard part, talking about it. So I put some extra information in here because my main suggestion for what you might do is go back to the standards. Remember when we were doing the Texas practice test and we looked at the competencies on the standards? I put the link in here. Now this is the link to the old test. So this is the link to the new test. So, but either test that you practice for. This is the English language arts, which if your activities and your level that you're working on is say 4 through 6 or whatever, use the standards and competencies for the one you're working on. But I'm just using these as an example to show where you could go to find information that you could use to help you with telling about the how and the why. So here are the standards. Remember the standards, the domains, and then you've got the competencies. Well, if you look at domain 3, focuses on the writing. So go down here in domain 3, and here use these. Use the wording here. And see competency 9, talking about effective writing. So you've got quite a few to choose from there. I would recommend just choosing one, and because you don't want to just list, oh, we're working on this and we're working on this and we're working on this, because that's not enough. You can't just say, oh, we're working on this, but you've got to go into detail as to what is happening, what are the writers doing. How is that going to help them? Why is that helping them? You're having them focus on this instead of this. So, because in their first round, you saw that they weren't understanding some part of it. So now we're focusing on this. We're going to practice. As the students practice this strategy, then that strategy will give them new ways to do blah, blah, and blah. So use this information. Don't feel like you have to come up with it all by yourself. And don't talk about it in just the way that you think about writing. We've talked before about how we all have ways that we think about it, different labels we use, different vocabulary, based on how we've been taught in our experiences. And none of those are bad, and they're useful to you. But for this, use the language that's here. Take the actual wordage here and use that when you're working on explaining. And I tried to kind of give you some ways to start. In other words, use a competency that would show how your activity is helping that the writers do better in the areas of the rubric that you're focusing on. Remember, they've taken the test on the rubric. These are the things on the rubric, and then I don't have the rubric link, but go back and look at that if it's farther up here in the earlier steps. But pick two of those that you're going to work on. Use the same wording that is in the competency. Don't just list the competency. You have to explain how your activity is helping. So, for example, you might say, the activity of doing blah, 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 that's what you're having them do, will help the writers understand argumentative writing, because that's the prompt that they're having to do on the STAR test, argumentative writing, because they will become better at, and this is where you have to be very specific. What kinds of things are they doing? Here's another way. The activity has the writers practicing blah, blah, and doing this. And in doing this, the writers, did they improve in a certain area? Are they learning new strategies for doing specifically what's something they're doing that they're getting better at? So anyway, that's some information that I added. So hopefully that might give you some ways to think about that. And I put these other links up there, the stuff on the OER. Pay attention to that too, because in those readings, they do a lot of the explaining of the how and the why. You can even reference them. You can say, in the article of blah, 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 they talk about how when writers do these kinds of things, they improve this way, blah, blah, blah. So don't feel like this all has to just be created, and that I'm expecting you to just be expert at talking about all this. Use all of the sources that we've looked at, all of the things that we've talked about, and the things you've looked at on the OER reading list, and the things that make sense to you. So use all of that information. Bring all of that together. It's not like you have to have all the answers all by yourself. So anyway, let's see. Okay. Well, I hope that helps, and just keep posting your questions in the discussion forum. And I know what I was going to say. When we get to the final, I had noted in the final that there I'm going to be doing high stakes assessment, that we I expect you at that point to show that you've learned and you've been improved and you've made progress. On the finals focused on reflection, so I'm going to look for those things. So the grading will be a little bit different, the assessment that I do. For this lesson that we're working on now, it's not like low assessment. It's like we're moving closer to high stakes assessment. However, as long as you do all of the parts and give it your best shot, I'm probably going to give you full credit, as much credit as possible. If you don't explain things, that's where you'll lose some points. Because like I said, don't just say, oh, we did this. List something. Because that doesn't really tell, those of us who are looking at what you're doing, how everything works. So, be as detailed as you can, explain it. Like I said, use the information in the resources to help you explain it. So, anyway, so do give it your best shot. Put everything in there you can think of. Do the best work that you can, and you should be okay on this one. Because, we've covered a lot of stuff, and you know where things are, you know where to look, you know how to think about them. I'm not necessarily expecting you to be, at the the stage where you've mastered everything, but you want to show that you can talk about it in more detail than you did before. So, okay, well, I'll stop there. And like I said, keep posting your questions because I can respond and provide whatever else I can do to help you guys. So hang in there. We're almost to the end.